Hey, cousins, pastors are being exposed. Pastor Robert Morris has been exposed for sin of the past. According to the Christian Post, Pastor Robert Morris confesses to moral failure after woman claims he began molesting her at 12 years old, and this is by the Christian Post. Now, I had shared in 2020, please comment below. I need witnesses. I need witnesses. How many of you remember in 2020, my New Year's Eve sermon? I have to find the video so I could show y'all, make sure y'all know I'm not lying. But I know I've had cousins since I've been here on YouTube that's been with me and watch all my videos. How many of you remember me having a vision? I was sitting over there on the couch, and the Lord showed me a vision, and in the vision were pastors, both men and women, line up, and the hand of God was lifting up their robes, and God said, I will be exposing pastors and leaders and prophets and apostles and evangelists and teachers. How many of you remember that? Does anybody remember? This was 2020, my New Year's Eve sermon. I'm going to go back and see if I can find. For my New Year's Eve sermon, I was sitting over there on the couch, alive, and God gave me the vision. How many of you remember that? Comment below if you remember. And God said, I will be exposing pastors. And pastors have been exposed, from TD Jakes down there at the Diddy parties, being swallowed up. Pastor Tony Evans, sin of the past. Now Robert Morris. And see, this is what bugged me about y'all Christians talking about it doesn't matter what Pastor Tony Evans did. Yes, it matters. We want to know. We want to know. Because Pastor Roberts is saying she was a young lady, and the little girl is saying, no, I was 12 years old. So that's why we need to know what kind of sin it was, Pastor Tony Evans. I need to know. Because you have a worldwide ministry. I have books of yours in my den. So I need to know. You say it wasn't a crime. I don't know if it was a crime. This act that you had, sir, was it with a special needs young lady or young man? Because I have a special needs young lady. Pastor Lexi is a special needs young lady. This is her prom. I didn't like the top, but, you know, she loved the dress. Pastor Lexi is a special needs young lady, and even though she's 30 years old, I'm her guardian. She don't have no right to give her body to nobody, because she doesn't have the legal capacity to make that decision. If Lexi want to take a Tylenol, Lexi have to ask me, Mommy, my stomach is hurting. Can I have an Aleve or a Tylenol? And I say, yes, Lexi, go have a Tylenol. And then I got to write down the time she had a Tylenol, because if anything happened to her and she got to go to the hospital, I have to give an account. She had a Tylenol at what this time? And if they find more than one or two, maybe two Tylenol in her belly, they're going to think I'm trying to unalive her because she's a special needs young lady. So I want to know, Pastor Tony Evans, was it a young lady who got an adult young lady who got a special needs? I had to go to court and sit before the judge. Lexi had 3 lawyers. The state gave her 3 lawyers to make sure her rights are not being violated. And I had to prove to her, that the judge, that she's incapable of making legal decision, and I need to be her caretaker. If she's at program and her stomach is hurting and she goes to the nurse and say, my stomach is hurt, can I have a Tylenol? They have to call me, Miss Hylton. Lexi said her stomach is hurting. I want to give her a Tylenol. This is 10 o'clock. And I said, no. I gave Lexi a Tylenol at 7:15 when she left the house. So because she had a Tylenol at 7:15, it's 10 a.m. She can't have another Tylenol till 8 o'clock, because it's till 8 hours, because that is the legal thing on the medicine cabinet. Because if anything happened to Pastor Lexi and she goes to urgent care hospital and anything happened to her, they're going to think we was trying to unalive her. Do you understand? So this is why we need to know what you did, Pastor Tony Evans. You was telling us it's not a crime. Okay, we believe you. But can I see the documentation and the verification? Let me just say, shout out to Dr. Blue. Did y'all see the video, the reaction I did of Dr. Blue? Oh, I just love her. I don't know her, but I love her. I love her spirit. Check out Dr. Blue's channel and check out the video I did this morning. So you know. You know I have the cousins all over. I have cousins all over the country, all over the world. And the cousins already told me what happened. The cousins already told me how many meetings they had. But I need to read it in a magazine. Just in case somebody try to sue me, I can say, no, sir. I was just reading an article from the Christian Post. So the cousins already told me what happened with Pastor Tony. But because I don't have any legal documents for me to read, I'm not going to say it. The cousins already told me how many meetings they had. But this is after I did my video. But because I don't have any legal documents for me to read, I'm not going to say it. So I will continue to ask these questions, okay? FYI in the comments. So I was over there on the couch sleeping. You know, Saturday I have my husband profile course Saturday morning. Hold on, let me turn this light out. Y'all not see my face no way, so I don't need no light on. I have my husband profile course on Saturday morning, and then that goes from 10 to 12. And then I laid on the couch and took a little nap. And my phone was ringing. And I'm like, who is calling me? You only call me if somebody died. Okay? This is 20 and 24, girl. You don't need to call me to talk to me about nothing. You email me, you message me, you text me. You send me an email or DM, but you don't call my phone. You only call me if you're dying. You need me to pray for you to get you to heaven. The cousin said, Jan, wake your lazy up, girl. Wake up. Check your email. I just sent you something. And when I checked the email, it was this article from the Christian Post. Shout out to the Christian Post. It was this article from the Christian Post. Let me show the article. Says Pastor Robert Morris confesses to moral failure after woman claims he began molesting her at 12 years old. I had to get up. So I'm still half sleeping. My hair is a mess. My face is still sleeping. I'm not dressed, so that's why I'm not showing my face. But I'm going to show my face tomorrow. But I wanted to put this out, and I'm asking for anybody who remember the vision I had, the Lord gave me, of pastors being exposed. The Lord told me in 2020 he was going to start exposing pastors. And so Pastor Robert Morris confesses to moral failure after woman claims. So let's read it. This is why we need to know what Pastor Tony and what the sin was, sir. Robert Morris founded pastor of Gateway Church in South Lake, Texas. I tell you what's going on down there in Texas, which attracts an estimated 100,000 worshipers weekly, has confessed to inappropriate sexual behavior with a young lady more than 35 years ago while he was a young pastor after a woman accused him of sexually abusing her over multiple years, beginning at 12 years old. Let me just say, I used to listen to Pastor Morrison. You remember back in the days in the 90s, we ain't had no cable, girl. We just had channel. Remember, we had channel 2, channel 4, channel 7, channel 9, and 11. How many of y'all remember that? We ain't had no cable. At least I know I didn't. And so every morning the preachers would come on. You would get Daystar, you would get the church channel, the preachers Copeland and Creflo and Benny Hinn and all of them would be on channel 9 and channel 11. Remember that? Yeah, so I used to listen to Pastor Morrison back in the days. Awesome teacher. So I don't know what has happened. A lot of these preachers, I don't listen to them. Not because anything was wrong, but because, you just kind of move on. Life changed, stuff changed. You know, you get married, you're having babies, child, you're getting no crazy. Okay. So I used to listen to this man. Awesome, awesome preachers. Preacher. Mm-hmm. Just like I used to listen to Pastor Tony Evans. But you know, when I read the book, I said, wait a minute now. I don't know about the him. Mm-hmm. So Pastor says, when I was in my early 20s, I was involved in an inappropriate S behavior. Let me start saying S because YouTube will take forever to approve this video. S behavior with a young lady in a home where I was staying. It was kissing and petting and not in intercourse, but it was wrong. This behavior happened on several occasions over the next few years. Morris said in a statement to the Christian Post after Gateway Church was asked about the allegation. In March of 1987, the situation was brought to light and it was confessed and repented of. I submitted myself to the elders of Shady Grove Church and the young lady's father. They asked me to step out of ministry and I received counseling and freedom ministry, which I did. Since that time, I have walked in purity and accountability. This is for those of you who's wondering why the pastors have to step down. Let's go back and read. In March of I was brought to light, confess and repent. I submitted myself to the elders. In other words, the elders have, like Pastor Tony Evans says, a standard that the Bible has for you to sit down when you have committed sin, especially when you're the pastor, okay? This is not made up. It's in the Bible. Mm-hmm. He explained that he returned to ministry in 1989, 2 years after his abuse was exposed, with the blessing of the survivor's father and the elders of his church. He further noted that he had and his wife met with the survivor and her family in October 1989. I asked their forgiveness and they graciously forgave me, Morris said. Morris accuses Cindy Clamshire first told the Wart Bug Watch that he began sexually abusing her on December 25th, 1982, and continued with the abuse for 4.5 years after that. When contacted by Christian Post on Saturday, the 54-year-old grandmother confirmed the details in the report, but insisted she was no young lady when Morris began abusing her. I'm, of course, just appalled, Clamshire told CPN Saturday about his description of her as a young lady. I was 12 years old. I was a little girl, a very innocent little girl, and he was brought into our home. He and his wife, Debbie, and their little boy, Josh, entrusted and preached at the church that my dad helped start, and then began grooming all of us to do this, which took me decades to wrap my brain around as an adult. This for y'all deep folks who bringing people in your home around your kids. He was a pastor. And you know, back in the days, you stay at people's home. See, that's why I told my, listen, ain't nobody staying here, not your mama, your daddy, they can come visit. Your brother can't come here and stay. Your daddy, he don't live far, he can't live here. Because I don't trust people around my children. I don't know what you're doing. Nobody is allowed in our home. If it's not a birthday party, if it's not a Thanksgiving dinner where we're hosting Thanksgiving, you don't come in my house and you're going to stay where my eyes can see you. Because I trust nobody around my kids. The only time my kids leave my eyes is when they go to school and I'm praying, how come Messiah falling out of the spirit, taking communion and pleading the blood and slashing oil. Because there are predators out here, people out here who want to hurt your children. She goes on to say it went on. And so then he lied. He lied. He says she was a young lady. The young lady now says she was 12 years old, sir. She was no young lady. She was a child. This is why we need to know, Pastor Tony Evans. You're saying it's a crime. We don't know. We need, tell us, and we will put it up against the law, and we will see if it's a crime or not. He's describing this young lady, this child, as a young lady. She was not a young lady, sir. She was a child. And back in 1980, in the 80s, she probably didn't even start her cycle yet. Mm-hmm. It went on for many years. He said it was no extra, but he did touch every part of my body and inserted his fingers into me, which I understand now is considered a form of rape by my instrumentation. I was an innocent 12-year-old girl who knew nothing about S-Wall behavior. Clemshire said in her report to the Ward Bug Watch that she and her family first met Morris at a youth revival in Tulsa, Oklahoma in 1981 when he was a 20-year-old traveling evangelist. At the time, he was married to his wife, Debbie, and they had their son, Josh. She said Morris began preaching at her church regularly on Sundays after he was invited to do a youth revival in her hometown of Hominy, Oklahoma. Her family and the Morris quickly became friends. They were invited in their homes and often went on trips together. Now, right, you would think this is a young man. He's 20. He got a wife. Why you need to be touching on a 12-year-old? Because he's a predator. At 20 years old, I'm sure he had a young, beautiful wife. She wasn't an old woman. At 20 years old, I'm sure young and beautiful. Titties still standing at attention. But because this man is a predator and a Pedialyte, you know what a Pedialyte is, pedophile. He started abusing the 12-year-old. Y'all keep letting people in your home around your kids and trusting the top of their knives. The devil is a lie. On the fateful Christmas night in 1982, Clemshire said the safety of the relationship with Morris and his family ended for her when they visited her home. The Morris family came to visit and spend some time there. Cindy sat in the back seat of the car with Robert. He asked her to visit him in his room that night. She shared a room with her sister. Sydney, an innocent 12-year-old girl, movingly described what she was wearing. She was wearing pink pajamas with bloomer pants. She wore underwear underneath. She had a snap-up robe on, the Ward Bug Watch said. She thought nothing of visiting a family friend in their bedroom. He told her to lie down on her back and touch her stomach. Jesus have mercy. He told her to close her eyes. Then he touched her breast and felt under her panties. He warned her never tell anyone about this because it will ruin everything. She reported. The report noted. Clemshire claims Morris repeatedly abused her in Texas and Oklahoma, and he often told his wife that he was merely counseling her during the visit night in your room, sir. Jesus Christ. When she turned 16, shout out to the Christian Post again. When she turned 16, Clemshire said Morris would take her out in his car and try to have S-Wall intercourse. Where was the girl's mama and daddy and parents? Why didn't anybody suspect, see anything, notice anything? Why is my 16-year-old daughter outside in a car with this 21, 22, 23, 24-year-old young man? By this time, Morris was a pastor at Shady Grove Church, which would eventually become Gateway Church, Grand PM. And listen, predators don't have one victim. He's a predator. He's a Pedialyte. I am sure there are more victims out there. And in light of this young lady speaking out, thank God for her speaking out, I guarantee you, the church, y'all better all all the victims, y'all need to come on forth, because I'm sure she's not the only one, because he's a predator and a Pedialyte. So there are more victims out there. Clemshaw eventually confided what was happening to her to a close friend who encouraged her to tell her family. When her father found out, he told the lead pastor at Shady Grove Church that if Morris didn't get out of ministry, he would get the police involved. That threat forced Morris to step away for 2 years. No, you should have told the police. That was a crime. Morris would return to Hominy with his wife and televangelist James Robinson. They told Clemshaw's father that he wanted to return to ministry. And at that point, her father washed his hands of Morris and no longer interacted with him. The Wartburg Watch said. The survivor made it clear to CP that Morris did not get her father's blessing to return to minister Jesus. My father never gave his blessing to Robert return to ministry. My father told him he's lucky he didn't kill him. Unalive him. I am mortified that he's telling the world my dad gave his blessing. Of course, we forgave because we're called to biblically forgive those who sin against us, but that does not mean he is supposed to go on without repercussions. Well, your daddy didn't call the police, boo. Your daddy didn't call the police. Clemshaw explained that she retained an attorney in 2005 to file a civil lawsuit, but Morris' attorney suggested she caused the abuse on herself because she was flirtatious. She said she asked for $50,000 to cover the cost of her counseling stem from abuse. She said they offered her $25,000 if she signed a non-disclosure agreement, but she refused. Thank you. Now she's going to get paid. For years, she explained to CP she has been warning churches and pastors who would listen to her story about Morris because she doesn't believe she's the only one who suffered his abuse. She also argued that he shouldn't be serving in ministry and should step down. Amen. I don't think he ever should have been allowed to be in ministry. We would never allow someone to go teach in a school, work in a daycare, or be a doctor if anyone could have done these things. And I have very difficult time believing I'm the only one. You're not. More will come out. Don't worry about it, sis. Don't worry. This is the age of exposure. Elders at Gateway Church told CP in a statement that Morris was transparent with them about his past, and they believe he had he committed a crime. He has been biblically restored to ministry. No, sir, that was a crime. If he was 20 and she was 20 or 18, I could understand. She was 12. That's a crime. That's not only a sin, it's a crime. Pastor Robert has been open and forthright about a moral failure he had overgone 35 years ago when he was in his 20s. And prior to his starting Gateway Church, he has shared publicly from the pulpit the proper biblical steps he took in his lengthy restoration process. They said in 2 years, restoration process closely administered by the elders at Shady Grove Church, and included him stepping out of the ministry during that period while receiving professional counseling and freedom ministry counseling. They said since the real resolution of this 35-year-old matter, there was no resolution. Sure, y'all didn't pay her. You didn't pay her. Why resolution? Matter, there have been no other moral failures. Lies. There are more victims out there. Pastor Robert has walked in purity, and he has placed accountability measures and people in his life. The matter has been properly disclosed to church leadership. He wouldn't be no pastor in my church. You're not going to be no pastor in my church because you're a predator. You're her children. If you was 20 and she was 18, that's different. You was 20 and a married man with a baby and she was 12, sir. You're a predator. You're not going to be no pastor in my church. And the girl's daddy should have called the police. But you know what? She's going to get paid now. Y'all need to pay her. Go ahead and file a civil suit, dear. File a civil suit. All right, y'all. Let me go back to lay down, honey. It is hot here in Jersey. The Lord showed me the vision. Pastors being exposed. I saw white robes and God, the hand of God lifting them up. I said He's going to expose me. So let me explain to you what we do. Those of us who's in the body of the Lord Jesus. If you have any sin in your life, you need to confess it and turn from it. If you are committing crimes, you need to go turn yourself into the police. If you are out here hurting children, sir, ma'am, go turn yourself into the police. For the born again believer, you are out here living shady life. You being fake. Go. You need to turn yourself into the elders. If you're shacking up, you need to stop shacking. If you're fornicating, you need to stop fornicating. Huh? You're a born again believer. God has put a standard for us to live for. I'm not sitting here telling you something I don't know, but I got married at 35. Do you know how many D's I had to turn down? Because I love Jesus and I didn't want my good be even spoken of. I didn't want my name being dragged through the earth. Huh? I'm 47 years old. When you come to the city of Newark, not one man or woman, you got to put that in there because, people out here doing some crazy stuff can raise their hand and say, I laid with Janice. And my father told me that he said, can't nobody come and say they laid with you. I said, that's right, they sure can, because I wasn't laying with nobody. I was laying with a pillow and my Bible. Because I wanted to live a life that is upright. And I'm not saying I'm perfect. Some people feel what I'm saying because I'm perfect. No. Listen, child, let me go back to bed. It's hot. I love you. Let me know what you think about this sin of the past. We need to know what you did, Pastor Tony Evans. We need to know. Tell us. Tell us. Okay. Love you all. Talk to you later. Bye.